The theme of our talk today is on the way to Brahman. Brahman is a term used very appropriately in the Hindu scriptures for the divine, for the divinity in existence. So our talk today will be on the way to Brahman. I hope by the end of it, you will be there. If not, takes a little time. That's all. So long as you know the way, you can proceed on your journey, the journey of life. You can proceed to where you came from. If you want to exit this universe, this world, you'll have to get back to from where you originated, from where you came. Isn't it? So here also, we'll present our theme today along with a very beautiful and an interesting dialogue which transpired thousands of years ago and which has been mentioned in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. There was a sage, ancient sage, called Yajnavalkya. He had 2 wives. And of course, in the meantime, he had, while living in the world itself, in his hermitage, he had experienced his divine nature within, his God nature within. But nevertheless, he wanted to be, once you keep on living with 2 wives, you can get a little tired of it. So he wanted to be perennially established in his divine nature, perennially, constantly. Of course, after enlightenment, for a good many people, what transpires is that at certain moments, you are withdrawn from the world and you are inwardly established. At certain other moments, you can come out, and as you come out, then you perceive the world around you. And as you perceive the world around you, you get reconnected with your body. First of all, you get reconnected with your body. And thereafter, through your senses, you become aware of the world around you, and you may have an interaction with it. So this was his condition at that time. When he is indrawn within himself, he is totally absorbed in his divine nature. And when he comes out of that state, becomes aware of the people around and the universe around, and has a dialogue with it. It's like putting on and off a light. So just a switch. That's all that is required. You put off the switch and you're indrawn. You put on the switch and of course, at will, you can perceive the world around. This, I want to make it very clear to you, that this was also the case with the great sage Ramana. He was seated, he spoke very little, but nevertheless gave. When people asked him questions, he answered. At certain moments, he was seated in front of people. There would be a lot of people seated in front of him. They put across questions to him. There was no response because he had now become indrawn. As he had become indrawn within, he didn't hear these questions. So this was his state of affairs. On and on this went on. So this is an illustration to indicate to you that one can get indrawn within oneself to one's divine nature and repose there. So now the sage Yajnavalkya wanted to repose or settle down in his divine nature permanently. And the nuisance of the world. After all, you get tired of it at some point or the other. Seeing the same good old world over and over again. Why do you want to see that again? Goodbye. So that's what he wanted to do. So before that, since he had some property, he called his two wives, Kartyayani and Maitreyi, and told them that this is my intention. And before I do so, I would like to divide my property between the two of you. Of course, one accepted. The others asked, Maitreyi, she asked, will this give me happiness? If I accept it, will this give me happiness? He said, no. Wealth will only make your life a little more comfortable. That's all. And you know that. The things of the world can only make your life a little more comfortable. That's all. So then she asked him, give me that by which I would forever be happy and well. Happy and well. Then thereafter, when he realized that she didn't want any further material possessions and she wanted this knowledge, so he began educating her on it. And that is the theme and the subject matter today, way to Brahman. So he said, Atma va are drishtabhyah. The Atman has to be seen. Atma va are drishtabhyah. It has to be seen. But in order to see the Atman, see and experience it, it has three steps, three aspects in it, three steps. Atma va are srotabhyah. It has to be heard first. Srotabhyah, you have got to listen to it as to what it is. Then Atma va are mantabhyah. It has to be contemplated upon. Contemplated upon. Thereafter. And after that, Atma va are nididhyasana. It has to be meditated upon. Meditated upon. So this is the process involved in trying to perceive the Atman within. So first of all, one must get to know what the Atman is. You can't blindly proceed. You can only proceed with good knowledge, good understanding. So the first step is to understand what the Atman is and where it is. The Atman is your divine nature. So with respect to your human body, it's called as the Atman, with respect to this. And the same Atman, with respect to the entire cosmos, is called as Brahman. So this Atman is Brahman indeed. So with reference to the space within this room is called as room space. And the same space with respect to the outside is called as cosmic space. But it's one and the same. There's no difference there as far as the space is concerned. So here also, this Atman that is there within you has to be perceived. And what is this Atman? Atma vare drishtabhya. Prior to this, you did not know that there was something called the Atman, your divine nature. What is this divine? In fact, God is one of the most non-understood and misunderstood words in human society. Though everyone uses the word God, but what it really means, people do not know it. That is why it is said, do not use the word of God in vain, because it is something very sacred indeed. Whenever you use the word God, what you are doing is, you are affirming your Godhood. I am that I am. I am that I am. That's the meaning of the word God. So you're not supposed to use that word in vain, because it is a sacred word indeed. It's like a mantra. So thus, the divine, what is it? First of all, is there a divine? The scriptures, so therefore, in order for you to understand what it is, you have got to expose your mind to the good knowledge, to the good teachings. Open your mind. Expose means to open your mind. With a fresh mind, look at it without prejudice. Without prejudice. Because if you approach the situation with prejudice, your bias would distort your understanding. Therefore, have an open mind in what you do not know. Because the Atman is something which you don't know what it is. You have not even heard of its existence. Something unknown to you. So therefore, it has to be comprehended as far as you can comprehend it. As far as you can comprehend it. So, the word Atman, it is Brahman, you see. It is equated with the word Brahman. And the nature of what is Brahman? What is the nature of Brahman? So you've got to get to know this. So in order to know all about what this Brahman is, which is the Atman, you have got to open your mind and listen to the good teachings. Listen to the good teachings from a good teacher. The Katha Upanishad comes and says, it is very rare for a good student to have a good teacher, to listen from a good teacher. For the two of them to get together and click is a very rare thing. You have students in the world and you have teachers in the world. But to have a competent student who has a competent teacher, and for the two of them to come together, sit down and have a dialogue, is a wonder indeed. Is a wonder indeed. Because if you are a competent student and you get a competent teacher, your enlightenment is assured. Sooner or later you will arrive at it. You will arrive at it. Another interesting thing, on whatever level you are, on that level will you find your corresponding guru. Remember that too. On whatever level you are. So you have to make the initial preparation if you want to have the appropriate guru. So this is a natural law of life. It's a law of life. Spiritual law of life. On your level, accordingly, you will be made access to. You will have the access to have the corresponding guru there. It will so fall and click in life. In life it will click by the wisdom of God itself. By the God's wisdom, this situation will transpire. You don't have to run after gurus. I read that. It's interesting. Nearly 40 years ago, I read a book written by a Westerner, hunting the guru in India, like hunting tigers. Hunting. You can't hunt them. You can't. It's only you get access to them as per the way you are competent. The thunder is rumbling. The sky is rumbling. So here also, you have to open your mind and expose your mind and listen to all the good teachings. Listen to it very carefully and very intently. By this, what happens is, what you did not know all about the Atman, the divine, now becomes clear to you as to what it is, as to what the Atman is and what it is not. What it is and what it is not. Because once you understand what it is, what it truly is, so then only you will be able to appreciate it for whatever it is. Because you have to contemplate on it in order to, and become it, and become it. So since you have to contemplate on it, you have to know very well what it is. What it is. So therefore, by hearing, so this is the first step in the teachings. The good teaching, the first step is to hear, not from anyone, but from a wise teacher, from a wise person, from a wise soul. A good teacher has to have wisdom in him and should be a wise person from whom you can get the teachings. So therefore, open your mind and listen to the good teachings emanating from the wise teacher. So this is the first step. So by this, what happens is, in Sanskrit, pramanagata asambhavana nivritti artham. That means all this listening is only meant to clear one thing. And that is, the unknowingness of the Atman has to be clear. Previously, you did not know it. Now you have got to intellectually understand it. Intellectually, mentally understand it for whatever it is. Whatever it is, you have got to understand it thoroughly. And by this process of hearing, what happens is, the unknown Atman has now become clear to you in your mind as to what it exactly is, what the divine is. What the divine is becomes very clear in you. And what it is not also becomes clear. What it is not. So that is why the word Brahman has been used for the divine, very appropriately. Now mark these words, that Brahman, the word Brahman. Brahman means that which is vast, that which has no limits in its existence. It's unlimited by anything, unlimited by anything. It is unlimited by the presence of any other object, any other thing. It is unlimited by time. It doesn't exist in time. It doesn't exist in space. Why? Because it is not a material substance. Atman is not a being. It is not a being. It is not an entity. It has only consciousness. It has consciousness. So it exists. Without a body, it has no body. That's why it's so wonderful. You know, the word no body is a pun. It has, of course, no physical body or no material body. And it has no body also, nobody else. That's why it's so wonderful. It has nobody else. That is why we said it is ekam, it is one. It is God is alone. God is alone. You have heard that expression. And God is perfect. Perfect means it's perfected existence. God is perfected existence. And that is exactly what you long for in life, isn't it? You also want to attain to that perfected existence. And that perfected existence is what is called and designated as God in the world. So this is something which doesn't exist in time, in space, and is bodiless. It has no parts. Remember this. Because people popularly say we are parts of God, isn't it? Haven't you heard that expression? Very frequently used by people, we are all parts of God. Good heavens, no. What would be God's condition if you are parts of His existence? No. You're not parts of God. You are God. There's a difference there. Because why is it that you are not parts? Because God is indivisible existence. Indivisible. A part has got some parts here and there, but it is homogeneous. It is homogeneous. It is one. Now all this is mentioned. There is a reason for all this being mentioned. So that you can contemplate and meditate on it. So in order to contemplate and meditate on your divine nature, all these words have been used for you to have some sort of an understanding as to what it signifies and what it means. So therefore the unknowingness of this Atman, which was previously unknown to you, now becomes somewhat known mentally. You mentally and intellectually comprehend as to what it is, what God is, what the divine is, becomes now more clear to you. And the word Brahman is used, Brihatva, that it is vast, infinite existence without any limits being imposed upon it. It is homogeneous, it is one. It is homogeneous and one. Now, so therefore, you have to initially listen to this. And from various points of view, this knowledge is being given to you. That this divine is the source of this entire creation. It is the source. This Atman is the source of this entire universe. The whole universe came out of it, subsists in it, and finally at the time of the world's end, it resolves back into this Atman, into your divine nature, into your divine nature. So who is greater? The universe or you? You are, because the universe collapses and resolves itself into you. Finally, when the time of enlightenment comes, the entire universe, it just collapses into your mind. From where it arose, it collapses there. So, it having collapsed, you still exist. But when it collapses, it can be very frightening. Just imagine the world collapsing and disappearing. But you don't disappear. You are very much there. So the whole situation can be very, very frightening indeed. But don't get frightened. When it happens, be happy about it. Be happy about it, that it has happened. So therefore, you are mightier than the universe. You are, in your divine nature, because it is out of you that the whole thing has come out. So in this manner, so it is Satyam, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. It is Satyam. Satyam means it is the reality. Satyam, Jnanam. Jnanam means it is the embodiment of knowledge. It knows. That is why it is said God knows everything. Because it can't know, unless God had consciousness, He would not be able to know everything. So this itself implies that there is consciousness. There is consciousness. Then what about your human consciousness at the present moment? This human consciousness is a reflection or a refraction of that original, primordial consciousness in which duality doesn't exist. In your consciousness, does not duality exist? I and you, this is duality. I and the universe, this is duality. So in your human consciousness, this duality exists. While in the consciousness of the divine, it is non-dual. It is non-dual. I and you, we both collapse and go away. I as the person, and you as a person, and you as the universe, I as the person, and you as the universe, I and you, they both collapse and disappear, leaving a non-dual consciousness. A non-dual consciousness. That's what it's called as non-dual, non-duality. Non-duality. Now, there is a reason why this word non-duality has been used. It is part of your spiritual discipline. You too also should maintain this non-dual awareness in order to arrive at this non-dual consciousness. When this non-dual consciousness transpires, there is a quantum leap which takes place in consciousness. A quantum leap in consciousness transpires. And the quantum leap is from the consciousness of duality. You arrive at a non-dual consciousness. And for this to take place, there is a quantum leap. Just like the atoms leaping, like a quantum leap within the atomic structure, you will find that the atoms, they keep on leaping from one orbit to another. So here also a quantum leap takes place, wherein from the dimension of space and time and movement and causation, you leap to another level of consciousness in which there is neither time, no space, no movement, but there is only perennial peace, perennial bliss, perennial blissful existence. So this is what the Brahman is, the divine is. So in order to appreciate and understand this, initially you have to expose and open your mind to the good teachings, So receive them. As you keep on receiving them, because one of the stumbling blocks that you may have, two stumbling blocks you have in receiving this knowledge and appreciating it. One is religious-social prejudice. You have been wrongly trained and educated in your religious structure and in your social structure. So this is a stumbling block in your understanding. The second is psychological. Psychologically also you may have your own inward blocks which may prevent you from understanding and appreciating this. So they have to be also, you have to be wary of this and see that they do not interfere. Your own psychological limitations and also your religious conditioning does not come and limit you or prevent you from arriving at this good knowledge and this good understanding. So this is the first step. The first step. Sravana. Sravana is to listen. Listen very attentively, very carefully. Then the next step is Manana. You have got to now, you have understood it. That's very fine. But at the present moment, you don't resonate totally with it. The heart doesn't totally, your mind understands, but your heart does not resonate. Heart does not resonate. So therefore, Manana, contemplation is needed. Manana. So in contemplation, what happens is, whatever factors which came your way, in not appreciating this with all your heart, it's not so much with the mind, but with the heart, you must resonate with this. Yes, I can appreciate what you say. So, in the initial teaching, it is said that part of the teaching process is that the teacher tells you, or in the teaching it comes out, and says, thou art the divine. Thou art the divine. You are the divine. But once the teaching has been given that you are the divine, you must be able to appreciate and resonate with it. Yes, I am the divine. I feel it, so I cannot but be the divine. You feel it with all your heart. You must feel it with all your heart. In case you do not still feel it, then you have got to now do certain practices. In order to feel it, so you have understood it, but now you have got to come to terms with it. It takes time. That is why when you receive a news, initially when you receive some news, good news or a bad news, whatever news, but when you initially receive it, you are taken by surprise, are you not? Then after some time, when you have the second or the third reading of it, which is a letter, then you come to terms with it. Is it not? It's a natural, practical experience of everyone. So here also it takes time for you to come to terms with what you have understood. It takes a little time. You begin to cogitate over it, reflect over it, and feel over it. So when the teaching has been given that thou art that divine which thou seekest with all thy heart, then you come to feel, yes, I am that. Aham Brahmasmi. I am that. And resonate it in your heart and in your mind. Roll it in your heart and in your mind. I am that divine. I am that divine. So you have to now begin feeling about it. So this is contemplating on it. Contemplating on this. So that this becomes a natural intrinsic part of your existence. Yes, I am that. I am. Now I really feel, not only am I convinced about it intellectually, not only am I convinced about it, but I feel it is so. I really feel that I am that. And that is why, there are certain exercises given, or certain statements are given for you to help you to resonate with it. Like, soham, I am that. That am I, soham. Aham Brahmasmi. Sit down and aham Brahmasmi. Satyam jnanam anantam Brahma. Brahman is Satyam, is the truth. I am the truth. Jnanam, I am that knowledge consciousness. Satyam jnanam anantam. I am anantam, vast. I am without any limitations. I am unlimited existence. Ananta, unlimited existence. So in this way you are going to begin feeling about it. Unlimited existence. If your unlimited existence, what should you do? Feel it so. Be it so. Be it so. Be unlimited existence. Do not limit your existence. Resonate with everything which is around you. With everything which is around you. Resonate with it. Because God's beingness is pervading and permeating everything which is there in the whole universe. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. All this is Brahman indeed. All this is the divine. Therefore everything in the world is sacred. Everything is sacred in the world. Everything. So in this way, begin to feel to yourself about your divine nature. About your divine nature. And by become comfortable with this understanding. You have to become comfortable with this understanding. So this is the process of Manana. Manana Shilavan Munihi. So Muni means the contemplative one. The contemplative one is constantly engaged in this feeling. This is a form of practice. For you to feel that I am the divine, and that I am the divine. That everything is the divine. Then thereafter, what happens by this is, by this process, Advaita Vasana comes into you. Advaita Vasana means the feeling of oneness with the divine. Blessed indeed you are. When this feeling takes hold of your heart and you feel one with God, which is better? Hey God, you are there, I am here, we are two separate things. Or to feel that you and I are one. Which is better? You and I are one. When Jesus is passing through, Matthew the tax collector asked, how many? How many of you? So Jesus replied, I and my Father. So Matthew was looking for the Father. He couldn't see the Father. How could he see the Father? Then he said, all right, never mind. What has he to declare? Then Matthew said, he declares his love for you. He declares his love for you. Oh, and Matthew said, oh, that I cannot tax. That's one thing in the world that you cannot tax. You can't tax that. Love. Love. So you love, you feel your oneness with God. Now why did Jesus say that I and my Father? Because the Father was within him. The Father was within him. And therefore he said, I and my Father, who? We are one. We are not two. We are one. So here also, as far as you are concerned, you and the divine are one. You and God are one. And this is that Vasana, that Advaita Vasana. This feeling oneness with God is a very wonderful thing which can transpire unto you. Your further spiritual development is based on this. Is based on this. Once you feel your oneness with God. And that is what Lord Krishna also teaches. In the entire Bhagavad Gita. And in the 12th chapter is popularly translated as Bhakti Yoga. The yoga of devotion, you see. But there, in that chapter, Lord Krishna says what the real devotion is. The meaning of the word devotion, true devotion. And that devotion, he says, is Ananya Bhakti. Ananya means one. Anya is to be separate. To be separate. I and you. This is Anya, separate. But he says it is Ananya, non-separative love. Non-separative love and loving feeling towards the divine. Non-separative loving feeling towards the divine is true love. It's true devotion. And when you have this non-separative love towards the divine, that is also true worship. You know not what worship is. For God is a spirit. is to be worshipped in spirit and in truth. That's what Jesus declares. So here also, when you have this feeling of oneness with the divine, then true worship is taking place. You don't have to worship. Can you worship there? It's just that feeling of oneness alone, it constitutes worship. That is true worship indeed. So therefore, this is that Advaita Vasana, the feeling of oneness, Advaita, non-dual awareness, which comes to a person out of the sum total of the merit or the punya which this person had acquired in this life and in lives before, and in all the practices which he had gone through before. This particular non-dual awareness and love for the divine transpires in your heart. Then thereafter, the third step is nididhyasana. Third step. Nididhyasana is Advaitic meditation, in short. Atmava ares sotavya mantavya nididhyasi tavya. It has to be meditated upon. Advaita meditation. Advaita meditation. Now, what is this Advaita meditation? Of course, there is meditation which is being brands of meditation. There are brands of meditation, you know, like brands of, how do you say? Soup. Yeah, like brands of soup. You get brands of meditation being circulated in the world. But true meditation is one and the same for the entire human race. And that is that way which leads you to the divine. Therefore, what this is has to be understood. Advaita meditation. Advaita, non-duality, non-dual awareness, non-dual awareness. In Advaita meditation, non-dual awareness is maintained. Now, in order to maintain this non-dual awareness, technically speaking, there are two words which are used in Sanskrit to describe what this Advaita or non-dual awareness is. One of the words is Brahmakara Vritti. Brahma Akara Vritti. That's one of the words. So it has got three parts in this. It's only when I explain what this is will it become clear to you. One is Brahman. Then Akara means form. Vritti means mind state. Mind state. Your mind state, or mind modification, or mind state. So what it really means is, your mind state is in the formless form of Brahman. Why is it formless form? Has Brahman a form? Yes or no? No. So therefore, formless form. Formless form. Your mind state, vritti, your mind state. And what is that formless form? It is Brahman. It is the formless form of Brahman. Your mind state has got into a formless form of Brahman. How? How? The second word will explain this. The second word, which is used for the same thing. Akandakara vritti is another term for the same Brahmakara vritti. For this non-dual meditation, Advaita meditation, another word which is Akandakara vritti. then once again it is composed of 3 words, 3 syllables. Akanda, akara, vritti. So vritti I explained as the mind state. Akara, the form, the formless form. Akanda. Now let's go into this akanda, what it really signifies. One is akanda. Akanda means limitless. Limitless. Kanda is limited. Kanda is limited. Akanda, when you have the I in front, it is limitless. This flower is in front of me. When I perceive this flower, my perception and my awareness is limited by the form of the flower. Is it not? The next moment, I see the clock there. When I see the clock there, then my mind and my awareness is limited by the form of the clock. The next moment I see the tree yonder outside in the garden while seated in the room. Then at that time, my perception and my awareness is limited by the form of the tree. Clear? All right. Now, supposing I do not see the tree, neither the clock, nor the flower, nor do I see anything else, nor do I perceive anything else. I have closed my eyes, and there are no visual perceptions of any order. That's why you close your eyes. No visual perceptions of any order. And there are also no mental perceptions or mental images in your mind, because your mind is calm and quiet now. And there are no thought patterns in your mind. Then what has happened here? What has happened? Yes, the mind is like a desert, and it is in a, since there is nothing there in the mind to limit it, to limit its perception, there is nothing there. Therefore, this mind is in a
expansive,
limitless.
That's right, it is in a limitless state. Not conditioned, not circumscribed by any object, not limited and circumscribed by any object. Therefore, your mind state is now in an unlimited condition state. Unlimited state. Now, what did we say when we saw? Now, when you see this flower, isn't your mind in tune with the form of the flower? It's automatically in tune with the form of the flower. When it sees a tree, it's in tune with the form of the tree. Similarly here also, when your mind, when there is nothing there, in a desert-like state, no images, no thought patterns, when it is totally empty and free, isn't your mind in an unlimited state? Not limited by anything. Now what was the definition which was given for Brahman?
Limitless.
Limitless, unlimited existence. Correct, correct. Then, when your mind is in such a state, it is in synchronicity, or it is in tune with Brahman. Got the whole idea? Automatically in this state, it has come in tune. It is in tune with Brahman, which is unlimited. Unlimited. So you are in tune with it now. Be in this state. Be in this state. Then you have now become, now when you saw this flower, you became flower aware. Now you become Brahman aware. See the difference? You become Brahman aware. Previously, what were you aware of? Two other things you were aware of. One was, you were aware through your eyes, you were aware of the world around you. The next thing that you became aware of was yourself. So since you are aware of the world and of your individual self, therefore you forgot Brahman. You became unaware of Brahman, isn't it? You became totally unaware of Brahman, even though Brahman is there. You became unaware of it. So now all that you have to do is what?
Remember.
Remember, become re-aware. Become re-aware. Remember that you are the divine and become re-aware. And how to become re-aware? Maintain this mind state. This mind state which is said to be akandakara vritti or brahmakara vritti in technical language. Technical language, that is what it is, made up of those three words indeed, three aspects. So when your mind is in this state, it has become Brahman aware. And in this state, this is maintaining non-dual awareness. Non-dual awareness is being maintained by you in this particular state. This is what is called as Advaita meditation, wherein you have become aware of the Atman or of which is your divine nature. You have become. So this has to be practiced. This has to be practiced. When you practice this, it is said, Atma va are drishtabhya, it has to be seen. Isn't the seeing taking place? Just as much as you are seeing the flower, when you see a flower, the seeing is taking place. Seeing is taking place. So here also, the seeing of Brahman is taking place. But you are not yet experiencing it. You are experiencing the flower all right. You are not only seeing the flower, but you are experiencing the flower. But when you are in this particular state of Brahmakara vritti or Akandakara vritti, you are now seeing Brahman, but you are not yet experiencing. Why? Why? There is a reason for it. The reason is, there is still a very strong feeling within yourself, or very strong impression within yourself, a very strong impression. And what is that impression? That I am an individual. This impression that I am an individual person is still very much there. This impression is there. And this impression has been cultivated over a long period. You may have cultivated this impression over a number of lifetimes. The feeling that I am a human, I am so and so. So this I impression as an individual is strongly there. And this impression is called, two impressions are very strongly there within you. One is the I impression, the other is the world impression. I and you, because they came together. So I and you, the world impression is also very much there. So these two impressions are there, and these two impressions have to be cleared, isn't it? So when these two impressions are cleared gradually by and by, then what happens is, when they are totally cleared, then where you are seeing Brahman, the experience of Brahman will take place. It's only then it will take place. So therefore, there has to be a seeing for some time. Seeing, this particular Brahmakara vritti has to be maintained by you over a period of time. So every time that you are meditating, maintaining or practicing this non-dual meditation, non-dual awareness, you are maintaining this non-dual awareness, what you are doing is, practically, you are cultivating divine impressions. Are you not? You are cultivating divine impressions. Divine impressions of your God nature, you are cultivating them. Every time you sit for meditation, you are cultivating it. And then what does this do? It effaces and neutralizes all your human impressions. See that? It counters it and neutralizes the human and the I impression. The ego impression and the human impression is being gradually effaced every time you sit for meditation. And also the world impressions, they are also getting gradually effaced as you keep on maintaining this awareness. Samyak avekshanam. Samyak avekshanam is another word for this meditation. Seeing well, truly seeing well. Truly seeing well with unbroken, unlimited awareness. You are seeing it all the time. Even when you are seeing the tree yonder there, or the sky beyond it, nevertheless, since you are, even with open eyes, when you are more concerned of this non-dual awareness which you are trying to maintain, this non-dual awareness which you are trying to maintain, if you are more focused on that, then even if you see the tree, the tree seems not to be there. The sky also seems not to be there. It's unimportant. Because now they are gradually beginning to recede away into the background. Into the background, they are receding away. And this non-dual awareness that you are practicing over a period of time, consistently and regularly, is gradually coming into the foreground of your consciousness. It's gradual. Filtering into you. So gradually what is happening is, the I human awareness and the world impressions, they are getting cleared and neutralized, and your divine impression comes and surcharges and saturates your mind. When it surcharges and saturates your mind, then what happens is, for want of the impeding consciousness, impeding impressions being no more there, the world impressions, the ego, I impressions being now almost cleared off, automatically the divine experience will transpire one fine day. Like a bolt of lightning, like a flash of lightning, it will transpire. One moment you were the ignorant individual. The next moment, behold, you are the enlightened. You never know when it will transpire. But you'll have to make the requisite effort. But in order to make the requisite effort, you must clearly understand this science. This is a science indeed. Is it not? All what I have just now mentioned to you. Has to be clearly understood as a science. Then you will know what you are doing. How to proceed further. You would know. So therefore he said, this is the third aspect, Atmavara nididhyasana. It has to be the Advaita non-dual awareness has to be maintained. So that the seeing of the Atman, of your divine nature is now transpiring. So this is the process. And then one fine day it will happen. But be patient about it. And consistently and patiently go through the whole process of maintaining this non-dual awareness. Maintaining this non-dual awareness is the key which will open or unlock the door to your inner spiritual reality. Is the key, the final key. You have now come up to the door, but you need the key. This is what which will unlock the door. Om Tat Sat.